Pacifica Radio's 60th anniversary, so we'll be in San Francisco and Berkeley on April 15th, which is the day Pacifica went on the air, the first station, KPFA. We celebrated last night TCTV, which is Thurston County Television. It's public access TV, and Chaos Radio. Then today we head to Washington, D.C., and I'll be at Georgetown with the Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Seymour Hersh. We'll be talking about journalism in this time of war and an economic meltdown. And then tomorrow I head to Ithaca, New York, and I'll be there with Glenn Greenwald, the blogger with Salon.com. Then I'll head back to New York. I'll be with you, Juan, in New York on Wednesday. Thursday, we head off to Cambridge, Massachusetts. On Friday, we'll be in Amherst, Northampton, South Hadley area, and we'll be celebrating a longtime activist who is celebrating her 90th birthday, Frances Crowe, with Media Education Foundation. Then it's on to Middletown Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut, then to Kansas City. We'll be celebrating KKFI, and then on to Tampa, Florida, to the wonderful community radio station WMNF, and we'll be broadcasting from PBS in Tampa for 2 days. Tampa is where Wikipedia is based. We'll be broadcasting from WDU's studios there. And then we head on from there. So if people want to see the tours, we travel through Montana, Idaho, Tennessee, Florida. We will, you can go to our website at democracynow.org.
Well, with all those frequent flyer miles you're piling up, maybe we can raffle some of them off at the next fundraiser. As the nation's economic and housing crisis worsens, homelessness is also on the rise. A report from the National Center for Family Homelessness estimates that 1 in 50 American children are now homeless, with the number of homeless people far exceeding the existing network of shelters. An increasing number of people are setting up roving encampments or shanty towns that are popularly known as tent cities.
And right here in Seattle, tent cities have been around since the late 90s, have also served as centers for organizing around affordable housing and services for the homeless. Seattle's newest tent city is called Nickelsville. The encampment is made up of over 100 pink tents and is named to protest the Mayor Greg Nickelss policies around the homeless. I'm joined here in Seattle by two people, Bruce Beavers, who lives in Nickelsville, and Anitra Freeman. She is formerly homeless. She is with the homeless organizing groups in Seattle, and we welcome you both to Democracy Now!
Thank you. Thank you.
Bruce, when did you start living at Nickelsville, and why name it for the mayor?
Well, I started living in Nickelsville on September the 25th. Why we named it Nickelsville after the mayor, because the mayor actually single-handedly he didn't start homelessness, but he's actually single-handedly trying to drive homelessness out of Seattle.
In what way?
Well, he has continuously to disrupt Nickelsville. He has thrown us off a piece of property that we actually found that would have been just perfect for Nickelsville to actually build the houses and sustain a nice place to live. He actually drove us off. He arrested 25 people. He continuously to threaten our hosts of giving us any kind of help at all. So he's really just been a sore for
Anitra.
He's harassing all of the encampments. There are thousands of people who are outside. The shelters have been inadequate for years. There's never been enough shelter for everybody. There are thousands of people outside, people camping, and instead of helping the people who are trying to survive outside, Nickelss single-handedly started a program of harassing them, of chasing people out of encampments and actually destroying their camping gear. And he set up one showcase shelter for 50 people that costs $500 million, $500,000 a year. And while this network of self-managed shelters that the homeless organizing group does can shelter 500 people a night for the same amount of money.
My colleague in New York, Juan Gonzalez, wants to ask you a question. Juan?
Yes, Bruce Beavers, if you could share with our audience what happened with you in your particular situation that you ended up homeless and how you got involved more as an activist.
Well, I used to, from 95 to 2005, I actually worked at a company called Acme Food Sales. It's an import-export company of canned goods. It's right here in Seattle off First Avenue. I was there for quite a while. I became the warehouse manager there. Once me and Acme kind of broke up and went our separate ways, that was a big salary I had. I tried to actually come with the salary by working at Dollar Tree, assistant manager at Dollar Tree in Federal Way for about a year. And then that didn't make the money, and I went to McLean Hardware. My bills was constantly adding up. My house wound up going into foreclosure. I bought it in 2003. So by 2007, all my bills was coming so far over my head I couldn't afford it. And by 2008, I actually lost the house and everything else. I met a young lady, and she actually talked about going to Nickelsville. And we actually went to Nickelsville. And Nickelsville actually saved my life, actually. It took us off the street because we was sleeping in alleyways, anywhere we could sleep, waterfronts. We would be woken up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and said we couldn't sleep there. You know, we getting soaking wet. It was cold. Nickelsville actually gave us a pink tent. And from there, we kind of realized that Nickelsville was a lifesaver. It saved our life. And we have been involved in Nickelsville ever since.
And Anita Freeman, I'd like to ask you, my understanding is that Nickelsville has had several locations as it's been harassed, and it ended up, we're in a church parking lot at present time?
Yes. Churches have a lot more freedom to host tent cities in places like Nickelsville because there's legally a very limited amount of authority that the government has over what the church does with their property. They can ask for, minimum for the least intrusive possible health and safety requirements, and otherwise they've got to keep their hands up. So churches find it very easy to host the tent cities, whereas private citizens are much more vulnerable to harassment. Do
you feel like the situation is getting much worse here in Seattle?
Oh, it is, definitely. But, there have been great amounts of homeless people for at least 20 years. People have been dying on the street for 20 years. The homeless women's group that I work with stands a vigil, Women in Black, whenever somebody homeless dies outside or by violence in King County. We started in 2000 and we stood vigil for 330 people since then, 11 just this year. This has been going on for a long time. And it is getting worse.
And what do you see, Anita Freeman, as the advantages of these tent cities versus the established city-run shelters that exist not only in Seattle but many parts of the country?
Well, the main thing is there's not enough shelter. There are people outside. The tent cities and Nickelsville allow people to come together and support each other, and they're much safer in a group. They can organize more resources, and they, Bruce can tell you, you have a space of your own. You can leave your things behind, not carry them around all day. You can be with your family, with your couple. You can actually have a community and things that you can do to contribute. It's a greater amount of human dignity for people, but basically you have a porta potty and you have dumpsters and you have survival. Much better survival chances than you do out there alone. Do you see yourself finally, Bruce, getting a home at some point soon?
Yes, like I said, Nickelsville is a place where people that have been up in the world that had something, once you lose something, Nickelsville catch you in between. It doesn't let you go all the way down. Like I had to come from up. Most folks that's losing their places now can come to a place like Nickelsville and leave their stuff, like she was saying. You can go out and live a normal life. You can interact in the neighborhood. You can interact with your jobs. You can take showers. You get your self-esteem back. Me, myself, me and my wife now, we actually saving. Nickelsville is giving us the opportunity to get back on our feet. Even once I leave Nickelsville, if never, I will actually still be a Nickelodeon. I would still participate in what Nickelsville have to do.
Well, Bruce,
Over the years, I've seen much a higher rate of people getting back on their feet out of the tent cities than out of the shelters.